Okay. What about you? How's the show for you?
Women live life on easy mode, bro. That's what I'm trying to explain here. That's really what it is.
It's interesting, but it's interesting. That's all I can say. You know.
What's interesting? Tell us specifically what's interesting.
How dare you?
Some of the, oh my God. Just some of the viewpoints that y'all have.
What is the most interesting viewpoint?
Misogyny.
Yeah. That part.
Misogyny?
I just feel like the double, it's like
Standard.
the double standard with both sides. Like there's a double standard for both men and women, and I think that you're highlighting just how it's a double edge. Like you're only highlighting the part where women have it easy, but there's a lot of parts where women don't have it easy as well that men have it easy for.
Okay. Give me an example of a double standard that men only benefit from versus women. Because I can only think of really one double standard that men benefit that women don't. But what is one that you're thinking of?
I would say just like there's a lot.
Okay. Name one.
I would say like in the workplace, there's a lot of incidences where women aren't seen as with as much respect as men. Or just even very male-dominated fields where women, like I'll be in a room, I could be saying like, I could even just a low example.
Sure.
I could say a joke, right? I could be funny as a woman and say a joke in front of a bunch of men and nobody listens, and then except for one man, and he'll pick up that joke and say the same joke. And then everybody's laughing.
Accusations! All right. Have you ever thought maybe their delivery is better? Maybe they're more charismatic about it? Maybe they're able to articulate it in a better way?
No.
Really?
There's definitely a lot of incidences where men just don't naturally want to listen to a woman.
Why is that?
Because misogyny, shit.
Define misogyny.
Misogyny is...
Misogyny.
Misogyny is a person, or it's a person who has hatred or prejudiceness towards women.
Good.
Or attitude or any type of action. It's basically the opposite of respecting women.
All right. So you're saying that there's the double standards. I would argue that double standards only benefit women.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay, and you gave the double standard of women not being taken seriously at the workplace?
Isn't that a big thing?
Well, I would argue women get preferential treatment in the workplace.
How would you argue that?
How to argue that? So in male-dominated fields, which you were trying to criticize before, women have a tendency to rise up way faster and also get approved for jobs in male-dominated fields in the effort to allow women into the workforce and have DEI hires and affirmative action, etc. Women are direct beneficiaries.
But then also you got to think about this. There's going to be a lot of men in that same workforce that are going to look at that woman and be like, oh, she's not qualified. She don't deserve this because she just only got hired because she's a woman.
Well, that's the truth a lot of the times, though. Women don't get hired on their meritocracy. They get hired because of, filling up quotas or, allowing women into certain workplaces.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that woman can't be as qualified as another man. Just because they have to fill up quotas does not mean that she's not as qualified.
Right, but it's still privilege. That's the point.
Do you not get the point that by them filling up quotas and giving women DEI hires...
But I'm saying the privilege...
Right.
You're missing the whole point. They're getting the privilege of getting the job even though they're not qualified because they're a woman.
Well, no, that's where everyone thinks that. Sometimes, what if that woman's just qualified for it and the best fit for it?
Well, in a male-dominated
And then everybody else is just going to look at it and be like, okay, like she's only hired. She's not hired because she's qualified. She's hired because she's a woman. She's not respected enough.
Here's the thing. The male-dominated fields that you're referring to, a lot of the times they hire the woman to meet diversity requirements, not necessarily because they're the best employees. And what's up happening is the women get the job because of their gender versus their quality. And the thing is that with women, right, women don't naturally understand meritocracy. Men do. So what ends up happening is women get these jobs because they're female and they might not necessarily perform. Men tend to work longer hours, longer hours. They take on harder jobs. They'll take on more risky projects. Men just work harder than women in general in a lot of fields. So I get what you're saying, that double standards, there's double standards that exist, but I would argue the double standards that, that do exist almost always benefit women more than men. Almost always. Double standards really benefit.
I mean, there's also the double standard in the dating scene where you just mention, okay, well, men can go and fuck and it's acceptable.
Yeah.
But women can't go and fuck and it's unacceptable.
Is it easier for women to fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's easy for both men and women.
Okay. If you go
You
to a
just gotta
nightclub,
find somebody who's attracted to you.
okay, see here, that's where you're wrong. For men, it is significantly harder to fuck than for women. Women can just show up and someone will have sex with them. Men have to work to get sex. Or pay
I mean,
for
they
it.
could pay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still not as easy as you think. They have to pay for it if they do that, or they have to be attractive and get the girl naturally.
I mean, ugly dudes get pussy too.
Not really.
I mean, if they're charming.
A lot of them struggle.
Yeah, all you gotta have is a
okay.
good sense of
Let me
humor, to
ask you
be
this.
honest.
Let me ask you this.
You could outwit a woman.
Hold on. You're a dominatrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you would have as much employment as you have if men were getting laid?
Yes.
No, the answer is actually a profound no.
Because
let me
it's like
explain.
a lot of them, they're not getting laid. Like the ones that I'm dominating aren't
Okay.
getting laid
Look,
normally.
Okay, pornography, the sex industry in general, exists because men have a difficult time with getting laid. If they weren't having a hard time getting laid, OnlyFans wouldn't exist, you wouldn't be a dominatrix. Guys that get pussy regularly are not hiring dominatrix and they're not subbing to girls' OnlyFans.
I mean,
The sex industry is a $1 billion industry because men don't get laid. Think about it. Why do women not absorb porn? Why do women not sign up for OnlyFans? Why do women not hire escorts like that?
I mean, there's
Minutia. If we had to rely on females to support the porn industry, you guys would be bankrupt tomorrow. 90% plus of pornography subscriptions come from men. So the reason why it exists and the reason why you guys make so much money doing it is because men struggle with women.
well, I think there's a lot more to it as well because there's kinks. Like it's not everyone's having vanilla sex.
Yeah, but again, the sex industry in itself is a multi-billion dollar industry because men struggle with women. This is a fact. This isn't even my opinion. This is a fact at this point that most men struggle with attracting women. And as technology has gotten better and women have entered the workforce, it's gotten harder and harder for the average guy to get laid. That is why you guys have jobs, because you guys are able to leverage your sexuality for financial compensation because it is so difficult for regular guys to get laid. So they have to go ahead and chat with a girl like her on the internet or say, send me nudes, or they go ahead and hire you to step on their balls because they have a hard time getting with women. I guarantee these men that subscribe to your guys' services, you would never date them or take them seriously if they're a regular guy and came up to you. You'd be like, oh, no, thank you. So what do you think? That's why they have to revert to doing that shit. So double standards only benefit women, really. It is hard for men to get laid. It is not hard for you guys to get laid. You guys can go find a guy easy. For men, we have to work to get laid. So if we fuck a bunch of girls, we are doing something right. If you're fucking a bunch of dudes, you're doing something wrong.
Nah, but there's girls that are easy to get. So it's like at the end of the day, you can find it. They just might not be attractive to you.
Even the easiest girls are going to make you do something. You're going to have to work for it to some degree. Even the easiest girls.
I mean, I guess.
Nothing's free.
Yeah, nothing's free, but that's on both ends.
Bruh.
Okay.
It's incredible to me how unaware women are of the male experience.
Bro, they don't care, man.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's just they're just unaware. It's
I feel like more aware because I was raised by my father. So I have more of that.
and you're a bit older, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dude, look, man, if men were getting as late as much as you think, you wouldn't have a job.
Facts.
I'm being 1,000 with you.
Strip clubs, OnlyFans.
Yeah, bro.
All the industry is fluffed
the
up by-
entire sex industry exists because men don't get laid, bro. If men were getting laid, they wouldn't be paying y'all, man. The fact that it's a multi-billion dollar industry should be in itself the proof. That's the proof that men are struggling with women. There's no female escort service like that. Maybe one or two, but it's a small minority. Women aren't paying for OnlyFans. Women aren't buying porn. Women aren't on male strip clubs. The male strip clubs go out of business all the time. It's just not a thing.
Ready?
But anyway, we're doing a thing?
Yep.